improvisational comedy coming to Louisville once again, and the Young Preachers Convention. Wait a minute, I want to get this right. It's the National Festival of Young Preachers is in town. And with me now is Dwight Moody. You are the president and co-founder, correct?
I am indeed.
All right, now, I want to share a little research with you here, Mr. Moody, and see if you would agree with this. You know, in television, we're really into research and what makes people watch. And they did a little study, and they wanted to find out what makes people stop when they're clicking. When they're clicking that little, what makes them stop and watch? And the number one thing that they will stop for and watch and pay attention is preachers. And I think it's the passion. I think they can sense when somebody's passionate about something. I think they see that they're all usually very well trained as far as theatrics. They have presence in front of people. And that's what I want to ask you before we talk a little bit about your festival. There is an art to it, isn't there?
There is an art. And some of it comes naturally to young people, and some of it can be taught. And we're trying to find talented young people, and we're trying to bring them into a situation where we can not only inspire them and train them and cultivate their gifts, much like a young artist or a young athlete might be trained.
There we go. Okay, now, this is the third annual.
This is the third annual.
And what exactly do you do at the National Convention of Young People? What is it?
There's no competition. It's all preaching. They all come and preach. The peer encouragement and inspiration that flows back and forth between the young people is really powerful. Powerful in their lives. We work with young people ages 14 to 28. Some of them preaching their very first sermon, and some of them already pastoring churches. But they all come and preach. We have 120 young people from 30 states, 30 different denominations. As a matter of fact, we think it's the most ecumenical event in America.
Ooh, that's a good word. Do that one again. Ecumenical.
Ecumenical event. It means the whole church. So we've got Orthodox, Roman Catholics, Pentecostals, all the mainline Protestants, all the evangelicals, they're all there.
I tell you, and if you've attended a church and there is a reason that people gravitate towards certain preachers.
Right.
It has to do with passion, knowledge of the Bible, etc. Whatever the case may be, I think it is an art, and we're going to get a sample today. In fact, Mr. Moody, if you would, we have a couple of guests here. I'll let you do the honors, introduce these folks, and these are what this convention is all about. These people are what it's all about.
We have two young preachers with us today. Rashad from Brooklyn, New York, and he's a student, a senior student at the famous Morehouse College in Atlanta, which of course has produced many of the great preachers in our tradition. And Carlene from UCLA in Southern California, a student at Yale Divinity School, and they're both scheduled to preach, one later this afternoon and one in the morning.
Okay, we're going to get a little sampling here, but first of all, I want to encourage everyone who is watching, you're going to get a chance to preach a little bit. That's right, coming up here, we're going to give you 20 seconds of time for you to preach. If you do well, and I think you will, actually every caller who calls will, we're going to give you movie passes. We'll talk about that movie in a couple of minutes, but let's, you know, the proof is in the pudding. So I guess we'll go to you first, Rashad. You're going to give us a little sample.
Give us a sample of your sermon coming up.
As a child growing up in Brooklyn, New York, I always had to face the struggles and the challenges of nightmares and dreams. But as a child, I also realized that some of my life's greatest goals were actually given to me and shown to me through dreams. Like Daniel in the Old Testament, while trying to figure out the dreams of the king, he tried to figure them out in the time of the day. The dreams only came at night. And so looking at the bleak landscape of our country today, I feel like we're in the nightmare again. But in the midst of the night, God releases his greatest dreams to us. And so we'll have to endure the night to see what our dreams will be made of.
Wow. Amen. And I'm assuming you wrote this as well, Rashad, correct?
Yes.
You wrote, whoa, beautiful. Very nice. Very nicely done. Okay, now, there is a little, do you pick the biblical verse that they will preach from? How's that work?
Well, every year we have a preaching theme. This year our theme is the Sermon on the Mount. This is 3 chapters in the Gospel of Matthew. There's a lot of material, a lot of very well-known texts, the Lord's Prayer, the Golden Rule, the Beatitudes, all of this in that sermon. And the young people can preach a sermon that intersects in some way with the themes or the text of the Sermon on the Mount. So every page of the Bible really intersects with the Sermon on the Mount in some way. So we have a wide variety of themes and styles and everything.
Okay, and you're going to put Carlene to work here?
Carlene, preach for us.
All right, in the Gospel of Matthew, 2 blind men approach Jesus and say, "Have mercy upon me, son of David." And in that moment, Jesus uses his hands, and he becomes the physical hand of God's mercy. I'm sure that every day there will be thousands, if not millions, of cries for mercy that go up to heaven. But because he was crucified on the cross and his hands were broken, the physical hands of Christ are not here to answer those cries. But the Christian story doesn't end with the cross. It begins with the resurrection, and our hands are the spiritual hands of Christ on this earth. Look at your hands. How are you going to use your hands to bring the mercy of God to this world?
Wow, wow, amen on that one.
You preach when? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Wow, Mr. Moody, you must be very proud of these young people.
They are so talented, and they're an inspiration to us. They're an inspiration to each other. They come and listen to each other preach and take ideas and inspiration.
Now, is it possible for the public to attend this and get a little sampling? What do they need to do? What do they need to do?
All they have to do is show up at the Seelbach Hilton Hotel. We have a registration desk with names and locations. We have 5 preaching venues. It's all afternoon today and tomorrow morning.
All righty, there's the information there on the screen for you. And now, your chance to preach. Okay, you got a little sampling there. These are professionals, and yes, you can try this at home, and we'll make it pay off for you. That's right, you can see the movie A Joyful Noise, starring Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah. If you'd like to attend the movie, absolutely free. 4 passes. In fact, I think we have a little trailer. Here we go. Little sampling of the movie there, and it's very appropriate because it's about a church choir and 2 ladies who have a difference of opinion as far as how the church choir should be led. Of course, that would be Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah. There's also a little teen aspect there. It's all about church. It's a little bit about religion, about relationships. You can win passes. Just call us and preach. 571-5263. We'll be right back. Lots to come. The Hot Italian is on the way. Vincenzo on Wave 3 Listens Live.
He's a good singer, Mama.
You just want to be near my little girl.
You help me sing my song. I'm starting with the man in the
He completely changed the way the choir sings. Who knows what he'll do next?
I love those old songs, but Randy's right.
We are not going out like this. Not you, not me, and not this choir.
Well, I am who I am.
Well, maybe you were 5